Welcome to our weekly maritime vlog. I'm Corey Ransom with International Maritime Security Associates. We have Bennett, the producer, behind the camera today. We are talking about cruise ship security. We've talked in a couple of past episodes about cruise ship security. In fact, those videos have thousands of views, so we know it's a topic that a lot of people are interested in. We've received emails and questions over the past few weeks specifically asking about security cameras and the placement of security cameras on board cruise ships. So Bennett and I got together and said, what a great topic for us to push forward on one of our vlogs where we talk specifically about cruise ship security. Ben, have you ever been on a cruise? I've had the fortune of also being on a number of cruises. One of the things that I have seen is the safety and security of the cruise lines evolved quite drastically over the past few years. It doesn't mean that there aren't incidents and there aren't things that take place on board. If you look at statistically, I believe the cruise lines are estimated to carry roughly probably 27 million passengers or more here in 2018 when we're recording this vlog. So that's a lot of people. And if you look at the number of incidents that make it all the way through into some kind of court proceeding around the world, it's usually less than a couple of percentage points versus population, and in some cases much lower than that. So it's fairly safe to be on a cruise ship, but like that and anywhere else, you need to be aware of your surroundings and situation and need to have some responsibility as a passenger. And again, in the other vlogs, we've talked about that as well. So with the questions we received, we thought we would address specifically the placement of security cameras on board the cruise ships. And some of the questions we received were in regards to the laws and regulations that really kind of regulate the industry and how this comes forward as far as the placement of security cameras. So here in the United States, the biggest law that gets to the safety and security of the cruise lines is called the CVSSA, or the Cruise Vessel Safety and Security Act. This act was pushed forward in 2010 and addressed a number of aspects to improve security on board cruise ships. Now, this law only has reach for cruise ships that touch or go in and out of a United States port. So if you're on a cruise ship and it's doing New Zealand and Australia, you are gonna fall outside of the bounds of the CVSSA. If you're doing a cruise that is just in the Mediterranean, you're gonna fall outside the bounds of the CVSSA. So this act just has to do with vessels, specifically cruise ships, that are coming in and out of the United States. Security cameras are one piece of a greater whole of this act. Right now, and still we're 8 years later, there hasn't been a lot of specificity that's been put forward in regulations as to where cruise lines should specifically put security cameras. So if you look at this, there's a little bit of guidance in the CVSSA. There's some guidance as far as industry best practices. Then you look at the company security officers and the security personnel of the cruise lines. They have some phenomenally experienced people. If you look at former military, FBI, law enforcement people that are working to improve the safety and security on board these vessels, they have a lot of great background and experience as well. And then there's also some technical factors to consider when placing security cameras. Right now, the flag states and the class societies haven't put a lot forward as far as guidance and have really left it up to the individual cruise lines. So even within a cruise line, the placement of cameras on board a ship could be different ship to ship. Some of the older ships don't have the security camera infrastructure that you see on the new ships, and there are some limitations to what you can do as far as the placement of cameras. So you're gonna see a pretty wide variance when it comes to security cameras on board a particular vessel. A lot of the security cameras will be placed to cover some of the main areas of the vessel, also entry and exit points of the vessel, and some common areas. There's some ships that I've been on that have had phenomenal coverage, over 1,500 cameras that cover the majority of all of the public areas where the passengers are, including some engineering spaces. And there's other cruise ships that I've been on that have very minimal coverage to cover just certain areas. Now, there's a number of issues that we can look at when it comes to the security camera coverage. Typically, with the number of cameras on some of the newer ships, when you have 1,500 cameras, you can imagine if those things are recording all the time, data storage of these images can be a real issue or a problem, that there's a limited amount of space on board to be able to store this information. So a lot of cruise lines will store security camera footage 30 to 60 and maybe on the outstretch 90 days, but typically you don't find camera footage extend past that. So if there is an incident that you're involved with on board, you need to work very quickly to try to get a hold of, through legal means, the security camera footage while you're on board the ship. On board ships, there's also a limited amount of area for big monitoring centers. Some vessels have people that are tasked to monitoring the security cameras, and some vessels have it as an ancillary duty to the security team on board. So again, depending on ship, depending on line, depending on capabilities, you're also going to see a variation really in if you have actual security people monitoring the cameras. In some cases you do, but even if you do, if you're talking about 1 or 2 people monitoring 1,500 cameras, it's really difficult for them to be able to see everything that goes on with all 1,500 of those cameras effectively. One of the things that we are seeing that's going to be a great advance in security technology over the next few years is the integration of AI, or artificial intelligence, where the artificial intelligence software can be running in the background, and the artificial intelligence can almost act as a monitor of the camera system. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see how artificial intelligence will get integrated to be able to improve the monitoring of security cameras. One last thing that I wanted to mention, there's a couple of websites that track incidents and crimes here in the United States specifically that happen on board the cruise ship. The FBI is the primary agency with responsibility, working with the Coast Guard and in some cases local jurisdiction, to be able to go through and take a look at investigating crimes that happen. Again, that's only on ships that come in and out of the United States, and it's typically only on crimes that happen against American passengers. So there's very limited jurisdiction when it comes to the United States. Also, the flag state, or where that vessel is registered, if an issue happens in open ocean or in their territorial seas, they can also assert jurisdiction as a primary as well. So there's a lot of little nuances to the legal considerations when it comes to that. If you're interested, we'll have a link below to the U.S. Department of Transportation's website. Every quarter, they put out statistics that are reported to them from various sources about issues that take place on the cruise ship. But always remember, when you do go out on a cruise, it's your responsibility to maintain control over yourself, your family, your friends when you're on board. Hey, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate all the viewers we have on the vlog. Make sure you hit that like button for all the videos you like. If you are not a subscriber to this channel, we invite you to join us here. Subscribe to this channel so you get notified when we put out new videos across our vlog and the other channels that we have here on the IMSA page. Also, connect to us through our social media, join the conversation, ask questions, put forward comments. All of that is detailed in the banner above and also in the comments section below. If you have questions when it comes to maritime security, maritime risk management, or maritime regulatory compliance, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We have a number of phenomenal experts here that can help you, because we're always happy to steer you in the right direction.